Global Socialpreneurs is brought to you in part by Positive Talk Radio, KKNW 1150 AM in Seattle. Check them out at www.positivetalkradio.net.
Welcome to Global Socialpreneurs, a one-of-a-kind talk show showcasing expert social entrepreneurs. Learn their stories and their secrets to creating a sustainable impact. Now, here is your host, social entrepreneur Ann Scotland.
Hello, and how are you? Thank you so much for joining us here on social to talk about social entrepreneurship again here on the show, Global Socialpreneurs. I'm so glad you've tuned in. We're streaming live today, so if you could send us a message in the chat or a question that you have for me or our guests, we'd love to answer that and see how we can increase our discussion around social entrepreneurship worldwide. So we are streaming every Wednesday. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. So you can join us anytime on USA Global Network. So I want to get started right away and introduce you to our guest because I'm really excited to have her here today. She is really a champion for women's empowerment. And by championing women's empowerment, we're championing world empowerment. I like to include that, and I never like to exclude the guys. So if you're guys, thanks for listening today too. Science has shown that when women are empowered in their environment, their economics, the education levels, when they're in leadership positions, go up. Their children become more productive members of society. So it's a huge role to feed is women empowerment around the world. And our guest today is going to talk to us about how her social entrepreneurship group is doing that. So today, our guest is Erin Attere. Erin Attere is a regional leader at Threads Worldwide. You can look them up. The link is in the notes. So Threads Worldwide is a social enterprise that puts income and resources into the hands of impact-driven women in 9 countries through the sale of fair trade artisan jewelry. So this has got so many elements in it that I'm excited to talk about. Erin creates life-changing work for women globally to thrive, not just survive, which is really what we're trying to accomplish as social entrepreneurs for all people. And she also leads a team of women here in the US who can leave jobs that no longer serve them or earn part-time income with meaningful work, with international travel, with community, creating community as it rises. So please join me in welcoming Erin. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Ann. So grateful to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, me as well. I'm so happy to have you here today and to talk about this incredible work that you're doing. And I just kind of wanted to start out with one of the questions we often ask our guests, which is in a small definition, in a sentence or so, generally, how do you personally define social entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I love social entrepreneurship because it's a way to really reinvent the world in a way where a business actually makes a global impact. And so it's this beautiful interweaving of no more win-lose, but like a win-win situation where independence and financial freedom, all the things, but also in a way that really brings us together and makes a more harmonious place to live in.
I love that. I really do. And I love the personal element that comes with it. And I've talked about that before on the show, how there's such a difference in the energy behind traditional entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship because the outcome, the goal is a little bit different. Even though everyone can profit and make money, the outcome is more people-based. Social, by the way, social entrepreneurship is more people-based instead of just profit-based for that particular business. So social entrepreneurship, the way I have defined it over the past and here on this show is in a few different ways, really 3. Now, we're opening this up for discussion, and if anyone has comments, please write in. But the 3 kinds of social entrepreneurship that I feel solid about in their definition is 1, it's a business that's helped solving a humanitarian or environmental problem. And that can be in several ways. It can be by the nature of the business itself, like manufacturing clean water containers for a local community, right? It can be that's what they actually do is manufacture. So it could be the business itself that is for a humanitarian or environmental purpose. It can be a business that is intentionally created to create jobs for a jobless demographic or a demographic struggling. For example, Tammy Jordan, who we've had on here, who has 3 bakeries in West Virginia, and they are all created specifically to help ex-con women re-enter the workplace and become productive members of society. And then the third one is a little different, and it's still a little different from donations to charities by a business, which is a social enterprise. And here's where we enter this little bit of gray area for some people, but it's a business that is set up to donate in advance of profits, a designated percentage of profits, 30%, whatever that could be, to a specific organization or movement, charity that is helping solve a social environmental problem. So I wanted to turn it over to you, Erin, and just ask you, like, your business does this in 3 ways, and tell us a little bit more about it. So Threads Worldwide, and what are the 3 ways it's really impacting? Absolutely.
I love all those definitions, Anne, and I'm really proud to say that we actually meet all 3 of those criteria at Threads Worldwide. In the introduction, you mentioned that we create life-changing work through the sale of fair trade, handmade jewelry and accessories and home goods. And so kind of that definition number 1 of really doing things in a sustainable way. So fair trade means essentially really good for people and good for planet. So no child labor, safe working conditions, all of those things. Your second definition is we are creating jobs. We are creating jobs for women in 8 different countries around the globe who hand make these products, but also here in the United States. So 9 countries total where women can really contribute and have meaningful work while earning an income and building a brighter world. And then lastly, we also have different campaigns throughout the year where we donate a specific percentage of sales. So for instance, every July, we host these dream gatherings where the host selects whatever nonprofit or charity of their choice locally. So anything from cancer to, Humane Society, all of these things, they get 10% of sales, as well as a couple of other things throughout the course of the year. So I'm very proud to say that Threads is actively and intentionally designed to hit on all 3 of those criteria that you shared. That is just amazing. And it makes me so excited because I get excited when there's 1. So when there's 3, I'm like, it's beautiful jewelry you're going to shop anyway. Right? I know. And she's wearing some of the products right now. And by the way, if you like jewelry and you hang in there, she's going to have a special promotion for you towards the end of the show. So stay tuned if that's something that you'd be interested in. And I love that because I love jewelry. But knowing that it's purchased from a fair trade organization, that it's made by hand by women who have been able to change their world because of this. Tell us a little bit more about women. And I know you travel a lot to these countries to work with, the extended organization there. What are just some of the examples of women, how their lives are changing because of this? Yeah, and it's so beautiful that we actually have an opportunity to travel and meet our artisan partners to see, firsthand really what that looks like. And so when I first joined Threads Worldwide, I knew that we empowered women to leave the sex trade, but to actually go to Bolivia in April and connect with these women, hear their stories, hear a woman talking about how she used to lock her children at night, her 3 children, and pray for their safety while she worked in the brothels so she could provide for them. I mean, that's the type of life-changing work that we're talking about. In April or in January, I went to Guatemala and we earned these trips. And so I've actually traveled to both Bolivia and Guatemala with my husband and my 8-year-old daughter. We do travel also too now, which is beautiful, but really to go and meet women who don't have to choose which child eats for the day. Santos is this trailblazer in Guatemala who established this cooperative, and she is leading women to really connect with themselves. These are women who were previously kind of meek. They were typically married at age, 13, 14, and started having children at age 15. And so there really was an emphasis for young girls to get an education because they were going to go off and live with their in-laws and take care of them. And now to meet women like Santos who are changing that, changing that expectation that girls should get an education and it's important to them. And so when we travel, for instance, in that Guatemala, I was able to meet Santos, but also her children, and meet girls who are going to school because of the work that we do. We have some campaigns in January where we give backpacks and give scholarships. And so it's a really beautiful situation. And now girls, we do dream circles and we hear girls sharing, and boys as well, right? Now they're not just picking coffee for less than $1 a day or going to care for other family members, but they have dreams of becoming doctors and artists and teachers. And it's such a beautiful transformation because, as you mentioned at the outset, and when you impact women, get things done. You know, women invest 90% of their income back into their communities. So not just does this work impact the one individual artisan who's making the jewelry, but also transform the lives of our family members and our entire community, because now girls in Guatemala and families in Guatemala are seeing how ripple effect, you know, what is possible. Well, this girl down the road is able to go to school, so maybe my daughter can too. And maybe she can graduate from college and become whatever it is that her dream is. And so it's so beautiful. We're headed to Vietnam next April. I'm earning that trip with my husband to be able to go and see our impact in that part of the world as well.
Wow, that's amazing and so inspiring to see it on the ground. I know that always has made such a big impact on me when I've had that opportunity to just, you know, see the difference that's happening right there before eyes, connecting to those individual human beings and just celebrating with them. You know, nothing is perfect, nothing is super easy, but helping each other sure makes an incredible difference. So how long has oh, so sorry.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say too, I think that we're a lot more similar than what we think we are, right? And so when we did that dream circle in Guatemala and walked barefoot to get grounded with the earth and drew out what we wanted to become and what we wanted to create, as we shared, the things were the same, right? We want a world for our children and a life for our children that was better than we had. We want homes, we want food. There are so many similarities, and these women are dreaming big. They just don't have the same access to resources and opportunities as maybe we do here in the United States.
Yes, and that's exactly so. That you just touched on what I talk about all the time, which is one of the opportunities that global entrepreneurship offers us is this chance to find new bridges, to build new bridges, kind of separate from the walls. We all as human beings, we have so much more in common, as you just said, than we do have differences. And you know, mostly in the media, we hear about the differences, and sometimes those need to be championed, but other times it's just like human to human, heart to heart, you know, sitting beside the road in another country, talking to someone who you can, you know, barely understand each other, and just sharing that moment, sharing a smile, just the life of a human being. And I say, I've met a lot of happier people in extremely poor conditions in those countries than people I used to know in Hollywood, for example. It's amazing how little you can have and how happy you can be. So they also have a lot to teach us. You know, we think that we have it figured out on our end, and yet, you know, we're not everyone is that happy, and even though they have all the things. So I love that, finding the commonality, because it crosses political divides, it crosses religious divides, and allows us to really, really connect. So Erin, how long has Threads Worldwide been operating?
Yeah, so Threads Worldwide was founded by 3 women who traveled the world, saw extreme poverty up close, knew they wanted to do something. They didn't know what exactly that would look like or how to make that happen. So we actually started 11 years ago by women who just had big hearts. They didn't know anything about international business or direct sales. And so they just started this company and figured out, you know, hey, we'll learn along the way and make it happen. And now we're in this very beautiful space post-COVID where everyone is loving our mission, they're loving our jewelry, and really excited to join us in this journey to build a brighter world.
And I think that is such a good message, Erin, for our viewers, because so many people say, boy, that sounds amazing, but I have no idea. I don't know how to, you know, I have no idea how to open an international business. I have no idea how to make direct sales. I have no idea how to set up a social entrepreneurship. So it's really exciting that so many other people didn't either. And part of the purpose of this show and everything I do is bringing those people together so they can learn from each other, so they can, you know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel again. You know, whether it's in our masterminds or our community, it's like people coming together and like, wow, I know you can do this. And this business was an incredible resource for us. You might reach out to them or someone like them in your community. What are some of the elements of your sort of the, you know, Threads Worldwide business plan that you think have been really the most effective?
Yeah. Well, and I just want to reiterate that point, Anne, that the work that you are doing is so important for people to realize, because I used to be like that, right? When I was in corporate America, like, oh, there's so many problems in the world. How am I going to tackle anything? How are you going to make it happen? And really, there are so many things, big and small, that are possible. Like, you can absolutely make an impact and a difference and learn along the way. You don't have to have a fully baked plan. But to answer your question about what do I think has been successful for us, I think honestly, beginning from a place of service, right? And so we're looking for opportunities for artisans around the globe and also women here in the United States. Like, I think that our business model was very intentional, right? We purposely didn't go into a brick and mortar model because we wanted to create community. We wanted to bring women together to connect locally, to learn more about how they can shop with their dollar to vote for the world that they want to live in, how they can host and bring people together, how they can actually do this work. And so I think really looking for opportunities for a win-win was really huge, and just partnership and collaboration too. So right now I'm working with a lot of other people in similar, either fair trade or, initiatives to, combat like poverty, human trafficking, really big issues. And so I would say definitely for anyone who's thinking about social entrepreneurship, look for those collaboration opportunities, because we're doing such great work together. And it doesn't have to be a competition, or we're both working in the same space. There are plenty of world challenges to address. And I just think that your spread, your reach, your ship is actually a beautiful thing, and more fun, quite frankly, to do in community. And so I think that the direct sales model just inherently encourages us to really rise together. And so I think that, my team, for instance, we're always there for each other in business and in life. And so when you can weave into your everyday opportunities in a way that creates community and fun and celebration, a culture that embraces that, I would highly recommend. Those have been the elements I think that have really led to where we're at now and where we're headed as an organization.
That's amazing. And I love what you said about cooperation. I was just talking to a huge global influencer the other day, and he was saying, yeah, it's really about cooperation, because even if companies, as they grow, even if they provide a similar service, there's always ways to help to create cooperation. We've seen so much done in the fair trade coffee. Anyone who's at all interested in coffee knows how that works. So sometimes, even if you are working with local growers to create organic coffee in a particular country, but they need money forward in order to transform into that business, and you might have two companies that are helping them, that they have been selling to, and they invest in them. And then those companies, they might even make an agreement with each other, which is, for the next 3 years, we're not going to try to undercut each other's prices. We're both going to continue to build our businesses without undercutting each other, just to help these farmers get it off the ground, so more money can go into that investment. So it really becomes a win-win. And, we've all been so viciously competitive, but I think we have an opportunity in the future. There's so many nuances in the products and services that we can create that make us different. And, it's the whole bespoke era, right? Where everything is like, you want it to be new and different anyway. It's not that you, in this particular instance, not that would be wrong, you aren't mass producing jewelry, which could also create jobs in other countries. So that would be great. But this is even more special because it's a handcrafted piece by piece, which is just absolutely beautiful. So the more we can cooperate, the more we can exchange information, the more it really, really empowers us. Any individual stories that happen to pop to mind, not to put you on the spot, but of women and lives changed that you just felt were really impactful?
Absolutely. And Anne, that's what I love about this business, is I've had the blessing of learning, like, truly what this means for the power of one, right? What does that mean for one individual? All of our pieces come with a story card, so you know about the woman who made your jewelry. This woman, Amlisette, on this side over here, she lives in Ethiopia with her family, and she actually turns bullet shell casings into bracelets. And so these are, Ethiopia, unfortunately, is a very war-torn country. They actually have a right now because they're currently at war. So we have some products on back order because they can't get the materials because there's literally a war. But she turns bullets and bracelets, war and violence, into something so beautiful. Like, you're having a hard day, put on your bullet bracelet and know that you can do hard things. But I love Amlisette's story because she and her husband found out that they were HIV positive. which, anywhere in the world can be devastating, but particularly in Ethiopia, that's a very difficult illness. There is a lot of stigma, so they were scared to send their children back to school. And there's also a lot of superstition. So they were told that if they picked up, if they moved to this remote area in the mountains and bathed in this magical water, they would be healed. And they did that. They picked up what they could carry. They took this long trek and uprooted her entire family to bathe in this water. That, of course, did not heal them, right, because of science. And she was left to a life of begging, which Amlissette described as worse than being dead. She had an opportunity to work at a cooperative, which she said was very difficult at first, to learn how to make the jewelry. But eventually, over time, she learned the skills, because our artisan partners always get training on how to actually make these beautiful products. And she said now she is so grateful for this organization and really for people here in the United States who build that global marketplace. She says now that she has a home, she has food, she can provide for her family, and she feels so blessed. And even during COVID, when her health was not going so well, due to her illness, she actually was able to get paid, even though she wasn't able to go into work because of the cooperative, because of the way that we work. And so that's an example of one transformational story that not only transforms her life, I believe, but also women in the States who purchase this bracelet. Again, when they are feeling like, how can I get through this? How can I make it through this day or overcome this obstacle? I tell my customers, channel the power of our artisan partners around the globe and know that you can do hard things too. But that's just one example of many stories. All of the women, right, who do groundbreaking, trailblazing things here to make this beautiful jewelry.
Wow, what a moving story. And I love that a couple things jumped out, and we have a couple comments about the jewelry, especially the bracelet being made from the bullets or the bullet casings.
Yeah.
That is so cool, says Heather. Keith says, so inspiring. So he's really enjoying hearing this story. And another comment, I absolutely love this. It must be so rewarding to be able to do this for these women. So, and I love that you talked about the training that they get so that they are learning a new craft. They are learning so that they can design and make jewelry that is marketable, that has this demand. So it's not just a random effort, which, if you were all on your own and you didn't know how to get it to market, or how would you even start if you were all alone in that situation? So having the training, having the network, which is incredible. And something so even using, in her case, products that you just find on the ground, and products that carry a story of their own. So that is just really, really tremendous. So there's also other ways. Yeah, go ahead. I'd love to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, one thing that I love about that is it's not just creating work, as I mentioned, right, with Amlissette, but the farmers who work the fields, right, and they find these bullets. They deliver them to the cooperative where they're melted down and to make these bracelets. And so it's fostering community as well between the farmers and this really ecosystem, right, the sustainable resourcing that they use. And so all of our products in Ethiopia, they use bullet shell casings, but other countries of the world, Ecuador, they use a lot of tagua seeds and nuts, or Bolivia, they use a lot of leather and hide, and so truly every country, they leverage whatever locally available materials are there, and we partner in creating the design. So everything that you see, it's a collaboration. We are all about equal partnership, right? And so it's not us dictating, make this and did it. It's truly a collaborative back and forth. Like, what ideas do you have? What ideas do we have? And how do we come together? And our partners say they love that. They love really having a voice in the products that they are creating. And for women in India, for example, who previously were in the sex trade, now they're the first metalsmithers in all of that country, because that's typically a role reserved for men because of the higher income. And not only do they get to work hard through those metals and do all that, but they have a voice in the creation, which is so important in that shift of identity from perhaps victim into, no, you're the first metalsmither in the entire country, girl. It's just such a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Wow. That is just so moving and exciting.
Yeah.
The idea of being involved, and like you said, having a voice, and that's something I've been talking a lot about recently too, is of having a voice for the voiceless. We can help give them that. We can help create that ability, and that is domestically as well as internationally. Some of the most hardworking and creative people are dismissed because of so many reasons, whether it's their economic status or race or any other number of things, handicaps. So giving a voice to the voiceless is really empowering ourselves, because we're making the world a better place. And these people are creative, ingenious people, and giving them that opportunity to do that, and what that does for their own self-esteem and sense of productivity and their family and their community is just really brilliant. So I love that. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I think that's so important, that what you said of, it's not just giving the voice to these women abroad, which is absolutely important. What I've learned is the power that comes even with the women here in the United States, myself included. For a long time, I joke I'm a recovering perfectionist and people pleaser, right? We have this idea, check these boxes, get the good grades, get the good job, do all the things. But really, sometimes we have work to do on ourselves too. And I find that I started this business to empower women globally, but I've really found so much joy in coaching women in the United States to really gain their confidence back, to really know who they are and what their unique gifts and talents are in this world, and to coach them into financial freedom, to really have this work that they're proud of and that they love, and so that they can live a life that is joyful for them. To stop, I used to miss my kids' birthdays because of business travel. I was making nice six figures, but I was really not focusing on the important things in life. And so I love that this work transforms women globally, but also in the United States, to discover their voice, I would even say, and then live into that as well.
Well, that's a perfect segue, because that's literally what I was going to ask next, which was a little bit more about what's happening on the ground here in the U.S. If you want to just give us a little example of the kind of work where you're doing here more specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I love about this work is that, so many, I think 80% of Americans I read recently don't love what they do. They actually don't even like what they do, right? And I feel like many people, myself included, have kind of lived in default for a lot of their lives. I think the pandemic was actually a great gift in that it shifted us into really thinking about what's important and how we want to live and what do we want to do in life. And, for me, just my personal story, as I mentioned, I was climbing the corporate ladder for 18 years, very successful career, started missing my kids' birthdays. And I realized one day that I was in this meeting, a 30-minute discussion about the word the versus a, and a new promotional piece for a new product launch. And I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? And this was on the heels of a conversation, a Zoom call with, at that time, I started very part-time with with Threads Worldwide. And we had a Zoom call with women in India who were debating going into the brothels that evening. And so just the contrast there, I was like, wow, I felt called to this work. I need to really do this. And for me personally, I'm back on that path to earning six figures, but in a way that is meaningful and allows me to be the volunteer in kindergarten's classroom tomorrow and really live in a life that I feel proud of. And women on my team have very similar stories, women who have left jobs that no longer serve them to match their previous income. Or we've got, a single mama on our team who, unfortunately, her husband passed from cancer last November. And she joined Threads because now she's raising a 9-year-old and she wants community. And now she's able to be surrounded by people who are pouring into her and lifting her up. She's able to make an extra income. She does this work part-time, but has really fallen in love with this. And I really think that the transformation that happens when women start to build their confidence, surround themselves in community, and become part of something that's bigger than themselves, it's transformative. And she said that, even 2 months in, she said, wow, my confidence is so much clearer. I feel like I'm a better mom. I feel like I'm a better human. And she has a big vision now for her life, which I think might not have happened if she decided to not join us at Threads Worldwide.
Wow. And I just love that so much. And also the fact that there's multiple ways that people can get involved. So one, I know they can hop on your website. You guys can find that in the notes. And you can buy products, the jewelry retail, if that's something you're interested in, or you're thinking about Christmas or whatever. And again, this isn't discount jewelry, but it's also affordable because it's fair trade. These women have to have a job so they can support their families and their kids and feed their families. So it's not exploitation. It is actually empowerment. And that's why, we're not looking for a deep cut deal. We got a comment here that says, absolutely, being part of a community, especially one that's making a difference, is super motivating. And it's so true, because feeling like you're part of something bigger is so much better than just thinking you always got the best deal. Knowing that you're making a difference and impact in someone else's life is amazing. So I know you have the website, but then you have also another opportunity for any individual listening right now, especially women, men are welcome to basically become a social entrepreneur through a program you have that also helps sell the jewelry. So you want to share just briefly what that looks like?
Absolutely, Anne. And so every 3 pieces sold creates an entire day of dignified work for artisan partners. And so I just wanted to share that as people are looking for holiday gifts through shopping. I mean, literally beautiful pieces that you would buy anyway, but really creating that dignified work. And then in terms of the opportunity, Anne, absolutely. We are less than 100 people who do what I do. It's called a socialpreneur across the United States. And my team is about a third of that. I'm really proud of that. And we are growing. So if you are looking for part-time work, I've got, there are no minimums. Some women on my team do 1 event a month because they want to create an entire week of work and earn a trip to go to Vietnam next year. Or if you are like, wow, this is hitting me so hard in my soul and this is really resonating and something you want to be a part of, I would invite you for a conversation to see if it's a good fit. We are truly creating something so beautiful, and I would love to see if this is something that can help you to reach your goals in terms of income and flexible work and travel and meaningful, and also just to be a part of building something. We are co-creating this company together and this culture, and it is a fun way. We partner with hosts who invite their friends to drink wine, connect, and shop for impact. And so if that sounds like a fun jam, my work, I get paid to drink wine and share stories is what I say. And it's truly, truly true. So yes, invite anyone to have a conversation and learn more to see if Threads is a good fit.
That's amazing. So this could be something that someone could even do on the side. Someone who even has a regular job, but would like to earn some travel, would like to participate in being an active social entrepreneur and helping sell the jewelry in a fun and exciting way, so they can get involved, and set an example, because that's part of also what I do and what this show is all about, which is demonstrating to our viewers the accessibility of social entrepreneurship. And this is the day and age where we all have these, compound portfolios anyway. I just forgot what I always call them. But anyway, it's like 6 jobs or 3 jobs, or, many of us do several different things now. It's less and less of us are just a click in, click out, 8 to 5 job. Many of us still do. But even those people have an opportunity on evenings or weekends or once a month to kind of get involved and do this and lead by example. So it doesn't mean we can't donate to amazing causes, but how exciting to demonstrate to the next generation and to the people around us and our friends and family how you can be profitable, helping people around the world be profitable, be creating a more healthy, a more stable, more educated, a more peaceful world. That's exciting. And to me, that's more exciting than just, writing a check for the year and walking away. So I love that you really make this accessible for people to come in and get involved.
Absolutely. And Anne, people ask me all the time, well, Erin, I just want to donate, can I just contribute? And I said, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. But actually, these women want to work, right? Our partners, they want to work. And so it's really beautiful when you recreate that by shopping or joining us in this. And I think you're exactly right. I have a lot of educators on my team, or especially the holiday season is around the corner. People who are just looking for some extra income to afford those holidays, or have bigger visions too, right? I always work one-on-one with everyone on the team to really identify what are your goals specifically. This is, before Threads, I would always volunteer for Feed My Starving Children or Bernie's Book Bank or whatever nonprofit, but what a beautiful way to be able to give back, but also bring in an extra income. And you can choose to spend that in beautiful ways or whatever works for your family. I've even got someone on my team who just donates all of the commission that she earns because she truly just sees that as another vehicle, another way to really make it happen. So it's completely open for whatever people are interested in.
Wow, I love that. I love how it just keeps giving. It's like it's circular. It just goes round and round. So if that's money you need for your family, you can spend it on them. If that's money that is extra for you, you get to donate it to some other cause that you're also passionate about, but you're helping the economic cycle And I just think that leading by example is so critical to changing how the world is functioning. And people would think it was madness to turn down a donation. But I love that we can turn that down, because we're building a new model, and it actually gets people more excited and more inspired and more involved, and is shifting the global mentality around business, and especially around entrepreneurship, into social entrepreneurship, changing that conversation, creating a new norm, creating a new paradigm. That's what gets me excited. That is for sure. So we only have a minute or two left, but I promised you all at the beginning that she had a special gift for you today. It's a code, I think. Do you want to share that with us, Erin?
Absolutely. So if anything that you heard today, you were excited about, or if you saw any pieces that you loved, I would love to invite you to shop with us, either for yourself or for the holiday season. And as a thank you for being a listener with Anne and showing up today, I would love to gift you 15% off of your entire sale using code ERIN, name Erin, at checkout. So would love to, and again, every 3 pieces creates an entire day of work. So whether you're shopping for yourself or others, every single piece helps us to create more work for women around the globe.
Amazing. So, and we'll make sure that goes in the notes as well. So ERIN, her name, Erin, you can remember. Check it out. Jump on the website and you can explore. We've just touched on the tip of the iceberg today. There's so many other things on there, opportunities, stories, different ways to get involved. It's really incredible what has been built and the opportunities that it provides there. Well, Erin, I just want to thank you so much for being here today. And I think, I often will ask a final word. If you were talking to someone who's never been a social entrepreneur, or someone who's considering it, what inspirational thought would you leave them with? What good advice might that be?
I would absolutely say go for it. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to figure out kind of who you are and what you want your contribution to be in the world. But I think that once you get clear on whatever, listen to what your heart, listen to what issues are really bothering you, and just know that taking the smallest step will really help you get there in the right direction. Over time, have come together, but really follow that purpose and passion, because it is a journey and it is so much bigger than you could have ever imagined. Anne, you talked about really kind of setting that example, and we're partnering with nonprofits right now for custom bracelets, right? And that was never something in our vision before, but you never know how big your dream can get until you start taking those action steps and really making that difference in the world, because it's so rewarding, not just for the world, but for yourself. And we need you. So pursue that passion, figure that out, and there are people there to support you, especially if you're working in collaboration.
Thank you so much, Erin. And I told Erin that we're going to create a global, let's say a social entrepreneur bracelet with them, because we want to help support her work. And how exciting is that, to have something new to talk about when people ask you what it is? What is social entrepreneurship? It's incredible how many people have no idea. If you ask 100 people on the street, you're going to get a very low number of responses that even have a clue what that is. So let's spread the word about how this works. The conversation, share with people the show, tell them where they can find it on USA Global Network. You can find out more on our website, which is globalsocialpreneurs.com, or you can go to just my name, AnneScotland.com. And as always, we are streaming here on USA Global TV Network on Wednesdays. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 noon Eastern. So please join us again next week. Thank you all for your comments today on our live show. It's really wonderful to have you tuning in. And we'll see you next time. So be kind to yourself and be kind to those around you. Bye.